So in the beginning, periods 1 through 3, we tried repositioning most right off the bat. Right, period 1, we learned that we needed to have R&D to reposition, and then intentions of targeting high earners for most, and then shoppers for move, and then we kind of just had like a little rough start.
And then for periods 3 to 6, we removed Move from our brand portfolio because it wasn't doing well, and we invested in R&D for a Bodite, and we actually entered the Bodite market with our product Mimi, and we invested in R&D to reposition most for the savior segment.
And from period 7 to the end, we successfully positioned most closer to the saver segment, but it wasn't quite close enough, so there was some competition there. And we successfully entered the Bodite market with Mimi, and we're the only ones in the market to do that thus far, and I had a big share of the market. But then period 9, that was our best period with the sale price index of 3,000. And by period 10, we had dropped back down because of some bad decisions.
And here's just our company dashboard of our share price index, and you can see that period 9 was our best from 6 to 10.
First thing we learned, you cannot reposition brand without R&D. Like I said before, we kind of took the Markstrat simulation that we were all in the same industry and then we were working against each other, and then we kind of just had to learn that we were in our own industry and we're all starting at the same place and working against the same competition. And like I said, we tried to reposition most with intentionally capturing the high earners, which didn't work out because we raised our price just thinking that perceptually that it would be a better product and high earners would want to buy it, but that just wasn't the case. We didn't realize that the features did not match up. That was a big mistake that we did not do. We didn't specifically put our products and features to the segment of the market that we wanted. And then, like I said, we didn't realize we needed R&D so soon. So here's a real life example to compare that. So Nokia. Historically, Nokia has always been an adaptive company, moving in and out of different businesses, which include electricity, paper, and even like rubber blushes, which is like shoes, rain shoes. They came out the first smartphone back in 1996, and they built a prototype for a smartphone with touchscreen by like 1999, which is pretty early on, which was when BlackBerry was thriving. So for years, the company has been a conglomerate with like a number of separate businesses that kind of just fallen into the Nokia umbrella. But what it was unable to do is to take all that research and development spending into products that people actually wanted. So they're kind of just trying to get ahead of the game, be tech savvy, but they did kind of just miss the point of what the customers and consumers wanted. So yeah, Nokia again was acclaimed for its marketing, but at its heart, it was a software company. It was a hardware company rather than a software company. So in the end, like I just said, it underestimated the importance of the software, which included like the apps that most smartphones have today that we all want. And Nokia's development process was long dominated by the hardware engineers, and the software experts were marginalized, in contrast to like Apple, where they saw the hardware and software as equal components of their business. And then right here is just a little semantic scale that I found on a tech website that kind of shows the most recent Nokia, which is a touchscreen that compares best with the iPhone 3G. In the long run, you can see that Nokia actually won and got the highest score of 76 opposed to 70. But you can see where the features that mattered most and where they were trying to segment the market that really mattered. And pretty much the best thing to describe that would be the design, materials, and measurements.
And for the second thing we learned is that it is important to make your supply meet your demand and vice versa, and to use all your resources to accurately predict forecasts, because we experienced a lot of the time in this game that we were either underproduced or overproduced, and that you should predict your forecast accurately by studying your trends and studying the stimulation. And for a real life example is General Motors. General Motors is known for overproducing their cars a lot of the time. So they'll have their trucks sitting in lots for months at a time. But they're also have been experiencing some underproduction. And just an example of them underproducing is when they introduced the redesign of the Seville and Eldorado models. And they based their initial demand forecast for its 1992 line, but the demand actually quickly exceeded supplies. And they lost 1,000 potential customers.
And the third thing we learned was that R&D needs to be continuous throughout, because in this game in particular, like the product life cycle is real, so you need to be continuing to do research and development and not just stop. Like we did it entering the Vodite market and changing segments, but what we really needed to do was keep moving, because like what we learned with the Red Queen hypothesis, like everything's always changing and we always need to be innovating and on to the next trend. But we stopped doing R&D towards the end in like the last 3 periods, so that really hurt us in the end. Like in period 10, that might have been our downfall. And a real life example of this is Under Armour. So like recently, Nike and Adidas have been really popular and like advertising really heavily, and they've been entering into a market of athleisure, which Under Armour didn't even really see coming as a threat, and now we're seeing them rebrand and trying to catch up in the segments that their competition are moving into and have been thriving in. And this is just their Instagram, and it's not like what you typically remember Under Armour being. They used to be just basic like sportswear material, but now they're trying to be like their competition. And in conclusion, we had a tough start, not knowing much about the game, but as we learned more and more, we advanced, and removing Move seemed to be the smart idea at the time, but maybe if we had kept it around and worked on repositioning it more, we could have improved upon it. But entering the Vodite market with Mimi really put us back into the game and helped us a lot. And small errors along the way hindered us from making advances like what we talked about with production and stuff. But something we could take away from this game is that the Red Queen hypothesis is real, and you can see it in Mark Strike games and real life.